Welcome to Meaningfulness, Engineering Purpose in a Complex World podcast series. I'm Djeff B., Principal Architect at Meaningfulness Media Group, where we build rigorous frameworks to uncover objective meaning through authentic connection, ethical systems thinking, and responsible stewardship in an age of AI and informational chaos. If you're seeking evidence-based insights on philosophy, psychology, and human flourishing, you're in the right place. Let's begin.
All right, so today we're diving into a book that might just flip everything you think you know about happiness on its head. It's Happy by Derren Brown, and it presents a pretty radical, but maybe a more realistic path to contentment. And it all starts with one really powerful question. The entire book is really built around this one huge, paradoxical idea. I mean, think about it. What if that relentless pursuit of joy, that constant, frantic chase for a feeling, is the very thing that's stopping us from ever finding peace? You know the drill. Modern culture, and especially the whole self-help industry, sells us this super straightforward formula, right? Just follow these steps, hit these goals, buy this specific product, and boom, you'll be happy. Simple. But as I'm sure most of us have figured out, life just isn't that simple. Derren Brown argues that real contentment isn't found by following some magic formula, but by completely changing how we think about what happiness even is in the first place. So first up, let's break down the problem that Brown points out so clearly, what he calls the modern happiness trap. And this right here, this is the core of the trap. We're taught to see happiness as this final destination, a nonstop euphoric state of being. But life is full of ups and downs, so that kind of thinking just sets us up for a constant feeling of failure. So, who exactly is our guide on this journey to deconstruct happiness? Well, it turns out it's someone whose entire career is based on the art of illusion itself. Yeah, Derren Brown is not your typical self-help guru. This guy is a master illusionist. His whole world revolves around understanding how our minds create our reality, how we form beliefs, and just how easily our perceptions can be manipulated. That makes him the absolute perfect person to pull back the curtain on the illusions we've all built around happiness. And this is where his background really comes into play, as he just systematically takes apart all the common myths that keep us stuck in that happiness trap. This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the myth we're sold, that we can have total control, feel constant joy, and that we should be aiming for perfection. And then, on the other side, there's this more grounded, stoic reality that Brown puts forward. Forget total control. Focus on your internal response. Accept that life has its ups and downs, and understand that good enough is actually a pretty wise way to live. A huge, huge part of our misery, Brown says, comes from this one illusion. We literally exhaust ourselves trying to manage every single outcome, when the truth is, most of it is completely out of our hands. This constant, futile struggle is a major source of our anxiety. So what's the solution? Well, it's to let go of that desperate need to control everything. The moment we shift our focus inward to how we react, we don't become passive, no, we actually become stronger, way more resilient, and ultimately a lot more at peace. Brown is really critical of the self-help industry for pouring fuel on this fire. By selling this impossible dream of constant bliss, it doesn't just fail to help, it often makes things worse. It can leave you feeling like there's something wrong with you, stuck in this endless cycle of disappointment. Which, of course, brings us to the big question. If this modern chase for happiness is a trap, what's the alternative? What are we supposed to do instead? The answer that Brown offers isn't some new revolutionary idea. In fact, it's ancient. He points us back to Stoicism. It's a philosophy built on a really simple but profound idea. True well-being isn't about what happens to you, it's about how you respond to it. It's all about building an inner fortress of calm that outside events just can't shake. So how does this actually work in real life? It's pretty much a three-step process. First, you get really clear on what you can control versus what you can't. Second, you pour all your energy into the one thing you do control, your choices, your judgments, your reactions. And third, you start to see life's difficulties not as roadblocks, but as chances to practice and get stronger. Now, it's so important to get this right. Stoicism is not about becoming some unfeeling robot. It's actually the opposite. It's about feeling everything, but not letting those initial emotional flare-ups control you. It's about learning to respond thoughtfully instead of just reacting blindly. And when you put all this together, it leads to a huge shift in our main goal. Brown suggests we should stop chasing happy and start building something much more durable. This right here is the crucial mind shift. Happiness, it's often a fleeting emotion, right? A quick burst of joy that depends on what's happening around us. Meaningfulness, though, that's a sustained sense of purpose that comes from inside. It's a deeper kind of contentment that can stick around even when things aren't going perfectly. So what builds a meaningful life? Well, according to Brown, it boils down to these fundamentals. Nurturing real relationships, letting go of that crippling need for perfection, being grateful for what you have instead of always wanting more, and just accepting that life is, and always will be, totally unpredictable. And above all else, Brown really emphasizes human connection. A meaningful life isn't something you achieve on your own. It's built through our relationships with friends, family, our community. That's where we find support, a sense of purpose, and the feeling that we belong. And that's where we'll leave it with this question. Are you going to choose the frantic, often disappointing chase for a feeling that never lasts, or the steadier, more resilient journey of building a meaningful life, one that's rooted in acceptance and connection? As the Stoics would say, that choice is entirely up to you.
That's all for this episode. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If these ideas resonate, continue your journey toward objective meaning and authentic connection at meaningfulness.com.au, where you'll find materials and resources to engineer purpose in your life. Until next time, let's build something meaningful.